All right, a special treat for you Macross fans. I'm going to talk about the YF-19 Excalibur from Macross Plus. I've seen bits and pieces. The first two episodes, episode 3 I could not find. There is a distribution agreement now for immediate release of all this old Macross stuff. Immediately means, of course, whenever certain parties can find out how to best monetize it, which is apparently not today. So in the future, I look forward to watching Macross Plus with amazing English dubs because let's face it, all anime is better in English. In terms of what it can do in combat, I don't really know because, well, Macross Plus was dedicated to the relationship between two test pilots. So we see this plane in a test piloting setting, and we don't really see it go through a ton in terms of weapons tests, or if it did, it kind of slipped my mind, so it wasn't that impressive. But reading up on the specs of the thing, the weapons abilities were kind of, I mean, like, look, I was about to say Veritech, and I realize how painful that is to Macross folks. I was
Freedom.
reminded of this scene.
Spock.
when
Yes, I heard,
Boy-
Captain.
That is a worship word. Yang worship.
I'm sorry about the
Speak it.
appropriation of certain worship words. Okay, but in comparison to the Valkyrie that starts us off in the original Macross series, I mean, that thing had a ton of missiles. It had a big gun. It could shoot things. How can you get more shooty blowy up than that, right? Like, everything's just a variation on the original Valkyrie. But the YF-19, it has those little nonsense fields that it can block out incoming shots. So, oh, I moved the nonsense field over and now nothing can get through. Super cool. It can also break the rules of space-time by space folding to its own locations. That's a pretty handy trick. We'll never do that, but that's a pretty handy trick. The one thing it doesn't have is mind control, which the YF-21, which I will talk about in its own separate video, had the ability to interface with the pilot's brain to be more responsive. Personally, I think that is the future, and I think we're going to see that pretty soon. I mean, right now, you can direct things with your mind just, using electrodes, and there's going to be so much information as well as increases in the ability of the human brain to process it, as well as interfaces that could be implanted. Cyberpunk is here, and it's absolutely going to stay. So the idea of controlling war machines with your mind through a direct interface, I think, is way more realistic than any of the other stuff we're talking about. And I don't see how that's not the standard. But in this Macross series, it's still kind of experimental. It's something they're messing around with in the YF-21. So the YF-19 doesn't have that cool mind interface, but it has lots of other cool built-in tech. Like I said, it's got nonsense fields. It can space fold. It's got a lot of guns. And oh, by the way, it's got a Tiggo booty. Check out this plane. Baby's got so much back. That's just like giving the air a big hug. It just spreads its wings wide and is like, come to me, big pocket of air. I will embrace you. Give you a bit. I think it's just telling aerodynamics to go F itself. Look at that. This is a big flying wedge. It's a funnel. When you've got enough power to break space-time, who needs to overcome air resistance? This has been Preston Poulter with Lords of Iron. Thank you very much for your time. Take care.